I'm joined by my friend, my companion, my duo. He's a staple to the Call of Duty scene. Everybody give it up for Ben Janessine. You guys already know Ben. Say hello, Ben. How you doing today?
Thanks, Tom. It's been an absolute grueling of a day, but excited to come on, talk some COD, and in a few days, man, we're going to be plugging our controllers and playing some Vanguard.
Queen Mitch has just entered the building. Don't know what she's dropping off. Oh, look at this. Very, very nice. Shout out to Queen Mitch. We went shopping today because we're going out on the red carpet tomorrow for the event.
Okay.
So obviously, needed to get some clothes. I needed nice clothes if you're going to be out on the red carpet. I can't be standing next to the Migos and T-Pain and all these guys in a hoodie and jeans. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the store, got some stuff, and I just need to get some of it fitted. So she picked it up, just bought it. But shout out to the queen. And we also got Mr. Tony himself, a.k.a. Zanny, a.k.a. Methods. How you doing, Tony? What's going on?
Tommy!
Hey, what's happening?
I'm still kicking. That's where I'm at right now. I'm excited to be on. Obviously, the flank guest of the year. Definitely not an award I'd take lightly. So, looking forward to get into it. What do we got? Some tier lists. We got some questions.
So
we're gonna chop it up, man.
Yeah, we're gonna chop it up. We have a post on Reddit. So we're gonna interact with that. A lot of people ask some questions, ask some hot takes going into Vanguard, and then we did want to do a team tier list going into it. Granted, there's still some teams that we're still waiting on some announcements from, but come on, Crone's releasing everything. It's all leaked. Everything's there. We know what the teams are going to be for the most part. I think a lot of people are just waiting for official announcements. So I thought it'd be a cool fun. Ben was the one who called me with the idea. He thought it'd be cool to do a little tier list. I thought it'd be cool. Listen, man, anytime we can come together, talk about COD, bullshit, I'm down for it. Even if it's a short show, I'm down to kick the shit. You know what I'm saying, Ben?
Yeah, let's get her popping.
Ben, I was going to say before we get into it, how's work been going?
Well, it is officially the busiest 2 months for our company. We are booked, I think, straight with shows from now until like the beginning of Christmas. So it is just a sprint until the holiday in December. And just really exciting. Just always new things popping up. And
Cool. Sounds good, Ben. Hey, I just always want to keep up to date with you. You're a busy man.
Yeah.
I got to ask some questions, but let's get into it, man. We got the tier list coming out. Ben sent me this link. Basically, we have all the teams here. What is this? Is this a DC logo?
Yeah, Washington Justice logo, I think.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And then I think someone just made an OpTic Dallas logo next to the FaZe logo there.
Oh, okay. Is that what that is? It looks like an OpTic Gaming logo. Interesting. What are your thoughts on a new OpTic logo? Have you seen it?
I think it's pretty dope. Dope.
You like it? Good. I like it.
It's not bad, right? It's interesting. It's not what I expected, but it's definitely interesting. But let's get into the tier list, man. Should we just start off with FaZe and just throw them up at the S tier?
Yep. Just put them up there.
I think we got to put them up there.
Atlanta FaZe.
I think the big question, well, I think every team's going to have kind of a big question. I think with FaZe, it's, are they going to be the first team to go back-to-back? They're going to make it to 3 straight finals. We'll see, I think.
I think the main thing for FaZe for me is, can they keep it up? Because think about all the dynasties, the OpTic dynasty, the Complexity dynasty. You had Farico a little bit doing their thing. Like just some of these teams that have just like really popped off. Eventually it comes to an end. Eventually. Now, I think the difference between these guys is just like they're in their primes. Like they're all young. They're all in their primes. Like who knows how far they can actually take this. But I think the big question mark is, can they keep it going? Of course, I think they can. I think a lot of people think they can. I mean, they're incredible players. But that's going to be a lot of eyes on FaZe going into the next season. Everybody wants to see these guys play and see what they can do, Would you agree with that, Tony, before we go on to the next one?
It's hard to disagree with it. I mean, it's very hard to keep up their level of play consistently. I mean, that's sort of like the craziest thing about FaZe is how consistent that they've been. We've seen teams peak, and it's like they've played consistently at their peak, which makes them scary. So, obviously, the best team in the world. I don't think they're going to win every single event in Cold War, right? Not Cold War, Vanguard. I just don't think that's feasible. If they do, I'd be fucking flabbergasted. But obviously, the front runner to win a lot, at least.
Yeah, for sure. FaZe is definitely a top team. So we're just going to throw them up in S tier for now. I want to go to OpTic Dallas next. The rumor for OpTic is that there's a merge or what is it called? An acquisition, people are calling it.
It's a merge. What is rumored?
It's a merge. What is rumored? But anyway, the team's going to be Shotzi, Illy, Scump, and Dashy. That's what people are saying. That's a rumor on the street. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't want to put any other team in S tier. I just want to kind of keep FaZe there.
I think we should put Toronto in S tier.
You think so?
And I think Toronto deserves to go S tier. Yeah.
Okay, we could throw Toronto up in S tier.
I mean, man, they made it to back-to-back LAN finals. They were consistently good majority of last season. I think anyone discounting that those two are the top two teams going in the season clearly did not watch COD last year, and I think it would be a huge disservice to Toronto considering they kept their team back together.
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I mean, at first I was like, we'll put them in A because like FaZe got the better of them. You know, just kind of like FaZe is a step ahead, so I was gonna put them in S. That's kind of how I was thinking. But if you're looking at it like that, like top two teams going into the year, I mean, Toronto's definitely a team to put up there. I mean, they've done nothing but just show out this whole year. I think they just got better and better as the year went on. And I'm curious, Ben and Tony, now that you're in here, do you guys see this Toronto team doing what they just did again?
I could see it, but the one hump that they've got to clear right now is on LAN.
I don't know why I have a weird feeling.
They got to close out these big series. That's the last hurdle for them. I don't think it's a talent problem. I think the coaching staff's pretty good. And I see a lot of people saying, oh, Toronto's going to flop this, that, and that. Like, clearly, again, I've not watched them or their teamwork last year. Like, I feel like they have all the tools. It just comes down to, you know, they had opportunities to candidly win the last two events, and they came up short. So I think an early event win is going to do this team wonders, I feel like.
Yeah, I think they need to come out hot. I feel like if this team comes out slow, it's just going to hurt them. It's just going to really hurt them. They're going to end up falling apart. I don't know why I had this feeling, but I think we're going to see so many team changes this year. I feel like people are going to be changing like crazy. I just feel like the talent is so spread out, like evenly spread out, that just there's going to be teams who just aren't performing and that are going to be changing. I mean, technically it happens every year, but this year I just have like a weird feeling for that. For me, I think a lot of it comes down to Bance. Bance is kind of one of those players who's like, when he's on, like that Toronto team is fucking nuts. And when he's off, maybe not so much. Same with Kleenex. Kleenex has had some inconsistencies in his gameplay. Like Kleenex and Bance, I feel like need to find like a consistency throughout the whole year. Continue to fry, do what they do. Cammy's like, to me, he's just fucking incredible. That guy's
disgusting.
Yeah, that guy's gross. And I think Insight's gross too. I don't know much about Insight. I've heard good things about him this year though. Just kind of like the way he played, kind of the way he calmed, and he was kind of like I don't know. He was a rookie, but he was very well spoken. He spoke a lot. He just meshes well with the guys. But Tony, do you agree? Do you see Toronto possibly struggling a little bit this year, or do you think they're gonna pick up right where they left off?
I mean, I think they will hit form at some point. At some point, they will hit form and be really good. That's not the question. I mean, obviously, I have firsthand experience. So the last 2 years, Toby starts off a little inconsistent and then becomes one of the best players in the game.
Yeah.
So if Toby starts off consistent, I mean, that guy is one of the best players in the world, like one of the most talented by far. It's also meta-based. Like it's such a hard question to answer because we're just not sure how the game is going to actually play. The plus with Toronto is if it's three subs or 2 ARs, you have Cammy who can literally do anything. I mean, we saw Cam literally for fun on Raid Hardpoint last year start pulling out an SMG and popping 4 pieces versus Empire in winners finals or
Cammy's
whatever it was, losers finals. So when it comes to team composition, they're there. It's just more so like starting off consistent because the past 2 years it wasn't that. And obviously I contributed as well, but as soon as the players get consistent, it's such a good team. I mean, obviously very good friends, good coaching staff. It's just starting off consistent, which isn't easy to do. I mean, bro, beginnings of the game are pretty tricky. But once everybody starts learning the game, like they have the talent. So as soon as the game is figured out by one team, the best thing to do is, okay, they're doing this, let's do this. They have the talent to keep up.
I agree with you. Like, I also, the other thing, and we're going to kind of talk about with a lot of these teams, I just like this Toronto's team ability, either a 2 AR game or a 3 sub meta.
And hold on, I also misspoke. Toby didn't play at the beginning of MW. I was speaking specifically about Toby in the beginning of this past season. But Ben was inconsistent as well. Honestly, I mean, no one was really consistent. Even Cam wasn't that great in the M4 meta.
I mean, you think about a lot of players, but that's like the biggest thing with some of these pro players is inconsistencies. I mean, that's what makes somebody like Simp so good. You know, he's just fucking good all the time. It's very rare you catch Simp on a bad. He's had bad maps. He's had He's had times where he was struggling, but I think for the most part, he's just like so consistent. That's why people put him up there as like one of the best, you know? So I feel like consistency is going to be the main problem for Toronto, but if they do come out hot, they'll be looking good. But Ben, were you going to say something?
No, I was just agreeing with Zen. I think Zen made a good point. Like, I just see a lot of like whatever in the chat about Toronto. I'm not sure why people are discounting them.
I mean, they're one of the best search. They are going to be one of the best search teams in the game next year. Like, they just have individual great search players. Toby's not scared to make plays. Ben's a playmaker. Cammy's an incredible search player. Insight's one of the best S&D players in the world. Like, they have an incredible S&D team. So it's always going to be a good S&D team. It's just the respawn consistency.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. Let's go on to another team. I say we go with let's go with Paris. That new Paris team that's rumored right now. It's Fellow, John, Donnie, and who was the other one? There was one more. Fellow, John, Donnie.
Decimate.
JT was the last one. Okay, so an interesting team, to say the least. You have Fellow, who's been kind of in Challengers. Hasn't really, he hasn't been playing professionally in a minute now. But he has been doing his thing in Challengers. I mean, Fellow's had good results in Challengers, has he not?
Yeah, no.
He's been playing really good. And then you have I don't know, Ben. We'll let you get to your opinions. I'm just going down the list. And you have John, who, in my opinion, I think, you know, people are definitely a little hard on him, I think, because he went to champs and he got shit on. He's at the 0.6, 0.5, whatever. It was one series. I think a lot of people were, you know, like, dude, this guy sucks. Get him out of here. Whatever. It was one series. I think John's done a lot in his career to earn another chance in here. And, like, he was off for a year. And then he got thrown into the pits. So I personally would like to see John get back in and see what he can do. Then you have Donnie Temp, who was with Paris. Had his ups and downs. Obviously, Paris as a team really struggled throughout the year. So, you know, that's a little bit of a question mark. And then you have Decimate, who went to Seattle and did the fuck out. He didn't want to do it no more, Ben. He said, you know what? These guys are terrible. These guys suck. I'm out. You know, and I didn't know what I didn't really like that. I didn't really like that, I'm going to be honest. But I don't know where to rank these guys. I definitely had them at the bottom of the league right now, for sure.
Hold on. So I have to assume Donnie's running main AR this year, because you're gonna have Desi and John on SMGs, obviously.
Yeah.
And then
Fellow's gonna be the main.
You think so?
Hasn't Fellows been running main, hasn't he? In Challengers, he's been running it.
Guess, Don has been wanting to run a main for a little bit. If I had to guess, Tem's running the main. But maybe is it Fellow? Paul X said in your chat it's T. Okay, so apparently Fellow's the main.
I think Don's best role, I think, is as a flex. I mean,
people underestimate Don. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but I'm seeing people in the chat like Donnie finessed the spot. Like, dude, Donnie is insanely talented.
Oh, he is good.
People underestimate the fuck out of Don, but my worry is like they have good players, but they don't have like an entry SMG. Like JT and John are both great SMG slayers. JT is really good at search. They don't have like they don't have a Kleenex. They don't have an Abizi. They don't have like the one who's just gonna sprint and fucking run it. I'm not saying they can't make plays, but John and JT are just inherently sub slayers.
I agree.
Not SMG pressure. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not. They don't have anybody on the front line. You know, those are kind of just like they're roamer type players, like Creddy players, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just when they're both together, it might be a bad thing. You know, so that worried me a little bit. I just feel like, you know, it's just the play styles, they might not mesh. But what's up, man?
I think, unfortunately, this team's probably at the bottom of the league. And we've talked a lot about how talent spread throughout all these teams. And I think if you look at your points, and I think if you look at this sub duo and the sort of roles they play, I think that's a flag. And if you look how they stack up to the rest of the teams, I mean, you probably got to put them 11th or 12th in that ranking. It is how it is. This clearly will likely not be if there's the Paris roster that sticks, like, will likely not be the roster that ends the season. Yeah, I think we got to put them at D, I guess.
D?
On this list.
All right, we'll throw them in D. So we'll keep it from S to D. We'll do it like that. Because what is this shit? 7, 8, 9, 10? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, no.
We're gonna double up. D. We'll work now, trust.
All right, Paris, you're going in D. Not looking good for you guys. Prove us wrong. Let's go to the next team. Let's go to.
Let's do OpTic Dallas.
You want to do OpTic Dallas? OpTic Dallas is interesting to me.
Listen, my opinion on OpTic Dallas is that's an incredible fucking team.
I think they're a good team too.
The rumored team, there are very, very few players that you can replace Envoy with, and you replace him with Shotzzy. And that's I mean, that's an upgrade, because if you look at Seth and Envoy as a duo, Envoy is a playmaker, but he's not an Abizi, Shotzzy type playmaker, right? He's taking long routes, he's pinching, he's making those type of plays. Whereas Shotzzy is going to finesse the balls out of you, hit the front of a hill and find two. Then you have the sub duo and Seth, who's an inherently pre-aim, a little bit slower Slayer who's going to pop off.
Right.
I'm assuming you're going to have Brandon on the main. And in my opinion, Brandon should be a main AR.
Me too.
When he played main AR in World War II, he was incredible, but he wasn't. You just wouldn't really. I mean, people knew he was incredible because of the roster he was on. Obviously, just never was placing. He was never in the finals or anything like that. Then you have Inder, who's also underrated somehow. I mean, the guy has played extremely well the past 2 years. I think you have like the duo ship there, and Inder and Brandon, who obviously played S&D a bunch, so like they have confidence in one another. I like it a lot personally. It's like they're mixing a lot of good players, and like I feel like if you were to combine those two teams, I think you get the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, dude, I
would put him S tier personally, by the way.
I don't think we
can't put him in S tier. You can't do that. We haven't even seen them play.
I
mean, if you predict, so you're predicting them to just be straight up just right. I mean, bro, it's not a bad. It's not a bad shout.
I think they're going to be really good, bro.
I think they're going to be really good, but I'm going to keep them in. I personally would keep them in A right now, personally.
So here's my thoughts.
Because I have concerns with that team. Yeah. But go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to have a bunch of teams in A tier, Tom. I think you and I have very similar concerns. I think on talent, this team has got the most talent to stack up against Atlanta FaZe, candidly. I think it's going to come down to the fact of, A, do these players mesh, and B, are they doing the extras it takes to be in that tier with FaZe in Toronto? Candidly, we saw a lot of stuff get tossed out about that OpTic team last year. We know that Shotzzy and Illy put in the extras. We know that Rambo Ray is going to hold people accountable. If that all works together, this team is going to be great. We know how Seth plays on teams where people are that motivated. You're going to bring out the best of him, and he had a great year last year. If they are grinding, this team is going to be in a bunch of finals this year, and I think Dash is going to be in a good position to lift that drought. If they are coasting, like they have at times the last couple of years, I just don't know what's going to happen. So I think with all that said, I think they definitely are probably in the top of the pack of the A-tier teams.
Okay, so I see some people coming in the chat. Some guys like, oh, you haven't even seen FaZe play Vanguard yet. You haven't even, so you're just being biased. And listen, I'm not being biased. I just think, listen, you have Shotzzy, you have Scump, you have Illy, you have Dash. There's a lot of superstar players on one team. Okay, so if these guys mesh, they're getting in S tier for sure. Like, they're going to be up there. They're going to be competing. Yeah. I think a lot of it's just going to be how they play off one another. How are their comms going to be in game? How's their small talk? How's their bait and switches? How are their strategies going to be? Who's going to be strat calling it? If it's Ender, is it going to be good? Like, bro, there's a lot of question marks. If we're looking at the team on paper, hell yeah, we're throwing them in S. He got 4 of the most talented players ever. Also, I'm so happy Dashy's on a main AR. That guy's insane. Bro, I love watching Dash. He plays like one of my favorite players to watch. And that guy needs to be on a main AR. I just feel like that's the role where he needs to be.
I mean, you put 3 players in front of him, he's going to slay everything. But then you also... So the reason I put them in S is if you look at OpTic last year, right, they were a good respawn team. Like, OpTic was a solid respawn team, but they were never that consistently good at search. When they were good at search, they were playing really well. The problem was their mid-round adjustments were garbage, and I don't think you're going to have that problem with Ender and Ant. And honestly, I feel like Ender is going to be the shot caller. Looking at the roster, I don't see anybody else besides Ender being the one who's going to step up, at least in search and destroy, for like the mid-round, like, yo, let's hit A now. Like, I feel like they're not going to have the same problem that they did before.
On all the best teams, Tom, to your point, all of those guys are going to step up. So yeah, at times
I feel like they will, though. You know why I feel like they will? You know what kind of vibes I get from this team? And listen, I'm on the verge of throwing them in S tier. The only reason why I'm not is just because, there's question marks, because I'm just like, the team came out of nowhere. But I feel like this team reminds me like Dashy, Shotzzy and Ender. It reminds me of like an S&D like tournament type shit where they're just playing on stream. They're playing these like tournament. Like, I feel like in S&D, like Bruce is gonna feel so comfortable. Like, everybody's gonna want to make plays. Bruce is gonna say shit. Illy's gonna say shit. Shotzzy and Seth are gonna be doing shit. I feel like they're all going to be so active, which is why I always say that I think the IGL is just kind of overrated. I had mentioned that I want to see how Illy IGLs and stuff because there has to be one, but it is overrated in my opinion. I think if this team meshes, they're going to be S tier for sure. Just right now, I don't know where to put them, S or A. I literally
A is fair. A is fair.
I thought A was fair, but now I'm like, now I'm fucking, I don't know.
We can literally actually add an OpTic Dallas tier, and they should be in their own category.
No.
A is fair. You can make the argument for S. A is fair. Like you can't be like you can't see A. You can't say A is crazy. You can make the argument for S, but we'll find out. I mean,
here comes Dan. Drag him in. Dan wants in.
I think A is fair.
Welcome, Looney, to the flank, ladies and gentlemen. Looney, how you doing?
What's going on, Dan?
We got Looney in the flank, ladies and gentlemen. Looney, how you doing?
Yo, what's good?
What's good,
Dan, what you got some takes on this or what, bro?
I think you guys hit it on. Honestly, what I want to see from that team is just Dashy hit that S&D star level. I feel like maybe because of the last 2 games he's had like, like the whole main AR and not playing well with Slasher and not really like. It might have been a little bit different from with playing with Formal, but I think I want to see I think Respawn he's been pretty good. Obviously at that bad week in Cold War, I think he still was ranked. Was he ranked top 15? I think in this game based off the GG breaking point. I think it was that I saw.
He probably was.
So I assume his stats were still really freaking good, but.
Bro, were they announcing one player a day, Dan? These guys.
I think they are.
They're doing like a couple. They're doing like a couple.
Okay.
But I think to that note,
he was 12. He was number 12.
Dashy is someone who I think his ceiling is just as high as Simp. Just need to see more consistency out of him. I think this team is going to bring out the best characteristics in him.
I mean, dude,
you put Seth and Bruce on a team with 2 guys that really want to win and really want to grind, and a coach that is 100% going to hold everybody accountable. And there's not going to be a better situation for those 2 players to be motivated to win the chip.
Bro, I'm going to be honest. On paper, this team's incredible, dude. Incredible.
It really is.
If they're meshing well together, I
think they will. I think that's the one thing you can't even deny.
That they're gonna mesh.
Chemistry and their mesh.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It reminds me of like an S&D tournament squad. Like they're just gonna be so comfortable with each other.
It reminds me of like a T2P type OpTic feel. Like they're like obviously when they were winning.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Inseparable. They're just like loving it. Obviously, Shotzi and Italy love grinders, and I think Bruce will grind more naturally because of those 2. And then, I mean, Seth obviously has a lot on his plate when it comes to content and stuff like that. But I think he'll just learn a lot from Shotzi. Shotzi will throw him in a private match and just teach him a whole bunch of
they're gonna feed off each other. They can all bring so much to a team. They're all superstars. If they mesh well, that's it. It's done. They're gonna be up there in S tier, and they're gonna be competing with the best of the best, competing for championships every event. So we'll see how it goes, man. I think A is a pretty fair place to put them as of right now. I just feel like FaZe and Toronto is. I don't know if we could put them up there yet, but
I'll say this, Tom. I know whose streams I'm watching when scrims start up. It's that team scrims. I'll tell you that.
The OpTic Dallas team, you're saying?
I would be.
Do you think Scump just instantly start streaming?
Oh, the team is gonna stream at least the first couple of weeks now.
They'll stream. They'll stream early. They'll stream early. I mean,
teams usually do.
But yeah, we'll keep them in A tier for now. Dude, that team's so excited. I'm so excited to watch that team. That's gonna be an exciting team to watch. Bro, all these teams are exciting, man. Now we should talk about NYSL a little bit. We have Clayster, we have Crim 6, Hydra, and Neptune. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about these guys a lot. I'm looking to put these guys in A tier. To be honest, I'm looking to throw them up in the A tier. I
disagree.
I think these guys can turn heads. I think they can.
I'm not putting them in the same thing as that OpTic. I'm putting them in B.
I agree with Zen. I think they're kind of on the A, B. I'm starting to kind of keep in my head what teams I think are going to be A, and we'll get to those later. I think they're kind of on the line between A and B almost. And my feeling on this is this. You look at those 4 players, again, I think they have a talent good enough to win a championship. The questions to me come down to what version of Crim and Clay are we going to get this season? Crim's coming off a tough season, but him and Clay have brought the best out of each other. And I'm still not entirely convinced, personally, that Neptune and Hydra are going to bring the best out of each other in terms of a sub-duo. And I think that's a massive question mark. They're both very much like roaming-type players. If one of them can be more frontline, then I think they're disgusting and they're going to gun people.
Yeah.
And I like this team's upside in S&D. But I think there are a lot of questions about this team. And to me, that's why I have them kind of on the line between B and A.
Well, Tony, Dan, what do you guys think?
Well, Tony was quick to talk. So
Why you want to Aislinn to be like? Why don't you compare? You just think that OpTic team, just talent wise, is just.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that they can obviously be an A tier or an S tier team, but like, no one's gonna tell me that if that team starts off slow, that there's not gonna be problems. If I'm a younger player, like Neptune or Hydra, dude, there's got to be some pressure there playing with like Clay and Crim. They're both big personalities who will speak their minds, and like both those SMGs need to be able to deal with that. You have Hydra, who I don't care what anybody says, still does not speak fluent English. I mean, he definitely speaks well for how long he's been here, but I hope he has an English tutor helping him, because that's important. I struggle with the duo ship between him and Neptune, not so much gameplay, but like the communication between the two.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm overthinking it, but like I really can't speak on Neptune's communication, but like
I think
this kid is also still very new to Call of Duty. I mean, like, his talent is crazy, but he's still fresh blood.
Mm-hmm.
And people saying I'm a Hydra hater, I think Hydra is disgusting, but you cannot deny the fact that his communication is not S tier. In fact, it's probably one of the worst in the league.
What I will say about Hydra, and I've said this on the show countless times, is watch how they play last year. And when they do lesson-ins, look what Hydra's doing on the map and how he's reacting to call-outs. And you realize very quickly that he sometimes has a hard time processing the information around him. Look, no one is saying that he needs to understand fully like the listening comprehension in English, because he's still learning the language. And he then kind of developed his roaming playstyle last year. And to Asim's credit, he did a pretty good job of playing around Hydra in those situations, and they had some upside. But I agree with you, Zim, when you put Neptune on the team, Clay and Crim, like that's a big thing. Comms is something they're going to need to figure out. Otherwise, they're going to be making a lot of mistakes that other top teams aren't, and it's going to kind of make them go lower down here on the power rankings.
Also, apparently, just to cut who was about to speak off, so they picked up D-Real, and apparently D-Real has been helping Hydra with English.
But I don't understand. Does D-Real? I asked this before. He doesn't speak French, does he?
I have no idea.
So how?
But I will say.
So was he legit hired just to straight up be like, "Yo, you're hired to work with Paco"? And obviously, no, obviously he's gonna be like a coach to the team, but his main focus is probably Paco. Like, did they want somebody to focus on him? Because listen, I'll tell you one thing. One thing you can't take away from Paco, man, is the kid's potential. Like, that guy, like, I used to watch that guy play scrims, bro, and see some of the shit he was doing, just the way he moves around the map, and like, he's definitely a special talent, for sure. What's up,
People
Dan?
in chat are funny now. They say, I want to see Methods learn French and try to calm laughing my ass off. He would be 10 times worse than Hydra. It's like, bro, no one's not trying to criticize that. What he's doing is incredible.
Are people okay?
Bro, all right. The best example is this.
For months, and
can people listen to fair opinions and just not get personally offended? Like, how are anything we saying personally offending anybody? They have the talent to be an S tier, A tier team. Even Clay came in here and said no one on that team is going to replicate Asim's playstyle. So now you need
my biggest thing.
You need an entire different system, because Asim's not running in first, doing all the dirty work. Now you have two SMG slayers who are both very good slayers. I mean, top two when it comes to like SMG duo talent, they're right up there. Like in the league, like they are at the tippy top. They have the talent. They're going to get the kills. But like, how well will they work the map together? How well will they communicate together? That's the question mark.
That's the way I would like compare. It's just, all right, Neptune's coming in for Asim. That's how I would look at it. And we know Asim's comms went crazy and listen-ins, and he even took an IGL role when Clay stepped back. So it's like Neptune really has to fit that role to help Hydra hit that level. Obviously, they still have Clay, and I know Hydra always praises Clay for how much he helped them. And Crim, stepping in Crim over like maybe like a Mac or DiamondCon when they were playing with a Hydra could help even that much more, because we know how Crim is. But I just think it's just one of those things where Zinni already talked about how's the small talk going to be between them, because again, we know that Asim was just he had a heavy load on that team. He had a heavy load on that team.
Clay felt like he was overwhelmed on that team too. Clay felt like he was overloaded, you know? So now you bring in Crim 6. Now you have Clay and Crim kind of balancing it out, trying to teach these young guys how to play. I feel like the foundation is good. They have a couple. You have JP, sure. you have D-Real, you have Bobble. You got two vets that are two of the most winningest of all time. Like both of those players in the top 5 of all time. And then you're putting together two really talented superstar sub players. how they mesh, we don't know. That's a question mark for a lot of these teams. Like, how the fuck are they going to play together? Who the fuck knows? Nobody knows. But if you look on paper, like some of these other teams, I mean, that's why I would put them in the A or B, like around there. That's why I was thinking A, because I just feel like if you look at it on paper, if they mesh and they do play well, I could definitely see them turning some heads and maybe competing for some championships. But there's a lot of question marks. I know the English is a big one with Paco. The sub duo and how they play off one another is gonna be like the main thing.
Meta's important too here. Meta's important too.
Wait, no. Crim and Clay need to make sure that they're stepping up too.
Wait, I was gonna say that to Ben's point. Honestly, I think Crim's best games historically, and I can be capping, are fast time to kill games, and Vanguard seems like it is that. So I expect Crim to have a better year for sure. I mean, he obviously has said how much he went through this year and stuff like that, and he does probably like his worst year as a teammate. But I think he does really good in fast kill games, and a game like Vanguard, I think hopefully, I mean, we'll see.
We'll see.
And obviously, just like you never want to light that fire under Crim, and I think this is another year of that. Like after Black Ops 4 was one of them, and then look how he bounced back to MW, and Clay was his right hand man, and it's kind of just like the same situation.
I mean,
you just can't count this team out. You just can't count this team out.
Of course not.
The
meta is important too. Yeah. Like you can't sit here and tell me that this team won't thrive more in a 2 AR meta. You're gonna tell me that you're gonna tell me that Crim and Clay aren't better both ARs than one of them running a sub. Obviously, it's gonna be Crim running a sub, I assume.
Yeah, they came on the show and confirmed.
I mean, unless there's a duck soup.
Please don't have Clay run the sub, bro.
Look at the 3 teams above them. If you were to so let's count Crim as a flex, and let's say it's a 3 SMG meta. Yeah. I will take Cammy, Cell, and Ender above him in the SMG role all day long. I think he goes
like Pierce
toe to
above
toe
him,
with most
maybe?
of them. I mean, we didn't.
He's just talking about the ones that are ranking right now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I would say all 3 of them above him are probably a little better than him with a sub. Obviously, he's not incapable. He's the winningest and the best Call of Duty player of all time. But currently, he's just a better AR player than an SMG.
Ben, what do you want to say, man? Everybody's flipping. I'll let Ben talk. Ben can't talk.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Ben.
My thing is, I agree with Dan. Like, even though Crim's sort of the OG flex, and we gotta give him credit for that, I agree with you. I think in a 2 AR meta, the team's very good. In a 3 sub meta, there maybe are better flexes out there. So that's like, a lot of people are going to come on here and say, oh, A, B. Like, as we do this exercise, guys, you're going to realize like how close teams maybe 2 through like 7 are.
It's so close, bro.
Then the win conditions are all very similar.
I don't really know, but I feel like Crim has never, the last at least like 3-4 years, has not gone into the game as a flex. So maybe he's just going to be better naturally with a sub if it quickly develops into that meta, and he has just more time spent on it. I feel like he has transitioned into, oh shit, I'll be the one to pull out a sub a little too late in some of these games, like Cold War, for example. I think even that kind of happened to Dashy when it kind of like flipped to that. So maybe if you know you're going into a flex role, like I kind of did in Black Ops 4, it also just makes you play more. And like, even if you just play pubs, you're running both guns. Yeah. So maybe it can help Crim that going into the game, he knows, I have to be on the top of my game with both these guns.
But listen, let's move over to the next team. I think NYSL is a great roster. I'm excited to watch them play. We're going to put them in B for now. We're going to put them in a B tier. So right now we have FaZe in Toronto in our S tier. We have that new OpTic Dallas rumor team in our A tier. NYSL B. We have Paris all the way at D. What are you going to do? Let's move on to the next one. I think we should do the Florida Mutineers next. This one, I mean, people are not happy with this roster, man. They're just not. And rightly so. Ben, we'll start with you.
This one's hard. Probably somewhere between C and D. I mean, the biggest question to the group is, and I think we'll all agree, it's which versioning of Awakening are we getting this year?
Who's running a sub? He's running a sub now, I think.
Yeah. The one who came into the league and was world starring and people were like, holy shit, this guy's amazing? Or the guy that at LAN last year really struggled? This team's going to need him to step up.
I agree. He's moving on to that submachine gun role. He thinks he could do it well. Looking at Awakening and how he plays, like just judging by the eye, I mean, he's definitely super talented. I can see him running a sub. I just don't know if he knows how to play a sub. Like, does he know what routes to take? Does he know, like, what the hell he's doing? And, bro, playing a different role is not easy. Like, it's hard. You have to learn it. And I don't know if he has any experience doing it. I'm pretty sure in MW, didn't he run a sub in MW? Yeah. So he has experience doing it. But it's going to be Awakening and Havoc, right, as your top 2. Those guys are going to be in the subs. You're going to have Skies in the main AR. and then it's who's the flex?
No,
Dave
I think Skies. No, I think Skies is flex. No, Dave Patty Main.
And Dave Patty Main. I thought. Yeah, wait. What the fuck are they
right,
doing?
Tom.
I don't know what they're doing. Who the fuck is? They got
team
so many ARs.
I think this team is just desperately hoping for a
AR meta.
two AR meta. Yeah, 110%.
They need it. They need an AR meta. I just don't. And listen, they do have Yeez on the bench as well. So you also got to think about that. They have Yeez on the bench. So if maybe they're thinking it's going to be a 2 AR meta. We'll do Awakening Havoc up top.
But that's just weird though, right? Because like, all right, say they do bring in Yeez. Who does he replace?
He's going to have to replace probably one of the main ARs.
And that's what I'm saying. So just like, do you replace Skies? Like,
no,
you're
gonna replace either Dave or Skies. Probably Dave. I mean, it depends how they're performing, honestly. And then you're gonna move Awakening back up to an AR flex role, and then you're gonna probably put Yeez up top with Havoc. Or they might go out and get new players. Who the fuck knows? You know, teams can go out and sign people, so we don't know what's gonna happen with them. What's up? Were you gonna say something?
No, I was just saying, like, it's just weird. Like, does he come in for Havoc right away? Kind of like it happened this year when Neptune came in for Havoc right away.
Maybe.
Like that's just an interesting sub to what your issue is.
They might have pacing issues, bro. They might just straight up have pacing issues on the map. Like I don't know if they're gonna be able to mesh and keep up with each other or be on the same page. I just feel like the roles aren't meshing. It's just not the roster on paper just doesn't look right. It just doesn't seem right. Yeah. It feels like something's wrong.
When you have a bad year, it's interesting that they kept 3 or 4th of their of that roster.
Yeah, I thought more changes.
I think as the year progressed, a lot of people were just kind of like you pointed out. Awakening's performance wasn't as good. Is there a problem with him and Skies on the same team type thing?
Yeah.
Talking about Florida now?
Yeah, we're on Florida.
They're just moving him to sub.
Oh shit! He comes, Tony. He comes. He fucking comes. Go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead, Zen. I was gonna say, like they had good weeks online, and then you know, stage 4, stage 5 happened, and we just saw nothing on them on land. Like, you know, maybe Florida's thinking there's a little something there, and they're gonna give it one more go. But I agree. This is another team where I do not think this roster is gonna make it to the end of the season. I'm very curious to see if they look to upgrade at some point.
Hey, Tony. Who the fuck is the main AR on this team? Who is
Dave Patty's the main AR.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Interesting. That's very, very interesting.
That's what I find interesting.
And then you have Slack, who played with Skies a lot, says like Skies is really good with a sub. He can be a good SMG. I'm more so like Awakening is going from an AR to an. Listen, Awakening's very talented. If he can be a top tier sub player, like, okay, I can see them being a contender. I just don't really understand the move. Like, the last thing I was expecting them to pick up this offseason was a main AR.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the exact opposite. Everybody assumed they'd go for, like, a star SMG player. Or they'd split up Awakening and Skies. I don't mind keeping Awakening and Skies, because I do think, like, if you can give it another go and make it work, like, Awakening is very talented, Skies is very good, but I don't know. I was just expecting to see like a new SMG, and it seems like they just went a complete.
They have one.
When I heard
they're not starting him. It's Yeez. I think that kid is gross.
Yeah, Yeez is good. He's good. I've heard ups and downs. I've heard some good and some bad about Yeez.
Yeah, I mean, I played with Yeez. Yeez definitely has potential. He's a little bit all over the place when it comes to just like sprinting around the map and just getting kills.
Which is a pretty common problem with young players, especially in challengers. Yeah, and in challengers.
Never really get to develop a system and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just listen. Maybe it'll work and they'll prove everybody wrong. I just disagree with the move to go pick up a main AR, especially because like it's not like Dave was going anywhere. Like if you wanted to, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you couldn't have went and got Dave a month into the game and been like, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's not like he was going anywhere else.
Well, there's also other shit you got to keep in mind too, budgets and kind of stuff. Like I know Tom has talked about it a little bit. Yeah. Like maybe they were strapped up for money. I don't know, Ben. You might know a little bit more on this, but you know, it's on the business side.
Not everybody's got unlimited money to spend.
That's what I'm saying. Florida, I don't know.
I agree with Zen. It's like even then, like you know, I thought last year pacing was definitely their biggest issue, and you would think that in what has become very much an arms race, they would try and find another diamond in the rough, maybe a sub player. Maybe that's what the Yeez play is. But I was surprised they picked up Dave.
So where we putting these fucking guys, man? We put them in,
bro.
We put them in D with Paris. We have a little party down there in D. We put them in C. What we doing over here?
I think D. Sadly.
D? You want to put him in D? I was thinking C.
Yeah.
But
Skies is the notorious sub gifter. I said we put him in A.
Listen, bro, I don't.
He's always thinking about the bottom line. I said,
Yo, you're comedy.
Okay, we can put them in D for
It's
now.
just like C or D.
But listen, we can move things around.
We're gonna shuffle these around.
We can shuffle them
sure
around, but we'll put them in D for now with pairs. But we'll go into the London next. Listen, this London team is interesting, bro. This team's pretty
What's
good
the
on
rumor again? It's like Zero.
Gizmo. No,
Gizmo?
no, Gizmo, Trey Zero, Nasty, and Afro as your subs.
Okay.
Very good team. The
Love-
most underrated
as
team on
fuck.
his list.
Yeah, it is underrated.
Very
bro.
underrated.
I also heard rumors of Dylan Cog coming back. The fuck?
I mean, if
Yeah, I
he's
saw that on
going to
Twitter.
be in challengers, he's not going to be.
No, I understand, but you never know. Next thing you know, London's picking up Dylan Cott as a substitute. You know,
Comes in, throw that
comes
motherfucker in there.
His guy drops fucking 8K damage like he did in Black Ops 4. And he was like, holy shit, he's back.
Bro,
Or
I
he
feel
comes
like
in and
this
gets
is like
shit
a
on.
super underrated team.
No, it is super underrated, bro.
Like super underrated.
You have
Who's
Gizmo.
it again? You got-
Gizmo's going to be the main
Yo,
AR, right?
That
Or
team
is
got
Trey?
gifters or something? Zen? That team
no,
got gifters in the chat? What's
No,
good?
no. I just
I'm messing with
no.
you.
I mean, bro. So I talked. I mean, obviously my teammates are all European, so I have like a little like Cammy. The way Cammy describes Nasty is like he's just as good as him. Like Cammy's just like Nasty is
Well,
just.
he was
He
supposed
is.
to come in an MW, right?
And Afro's already gross. The only person I don't know anything about is Gizmo, and then Trey
I've
obviously
heard
has a
such
chip
good
on his
things
shoulder.
about Gizmo, bro.
Like Trey is
Gizmo's a
obviously
main?
just like coming back.
I think he's a main AR. I think he's an AR player. But I don't know if he's going to be flexing or going to
Is it
be on a
Gizmo?
main.
I thought it'd be
I
Trey
know
main.
Afro's a sub. I'm pretty sure Nasty's a sub too, no?
So let's
like
let's-
borderline
a
flex?
couple of things here. First off, Trey's best position is probably running main on this team. I think Trey's an excellent main. And I agree with the assessment here. I think this is a super underrated team. A lot of people may not be rating highly. They're hungry. I think Trey probably is in that category too, considering all the BS he went through last year. I would say, do you guys agree? I think this is probably a team. They're underrated. I don't know if I put them in B tier. They're probably in that C category, but they could move up pretty quick here and surprise people early on in the season.
I can see them moving up. Damn, Tony, what the fuck are you eating, bro? You shoving that shit down, my guy. What do you got over there?
Some pasta.
Oh, you want to hear the whole
Look, he
breakdown?
can't even talk.
Yeah, well,
his
we
mouth
got-
is full of food.
we
He
gotta let
can't even
this one out.
talk. This
Listen up.
fucking guy.
Listen, I'm like a vampire when they see blood. If I got food in front of me, there's nothing I can do. I can't control myself.
Okay, so what do you have in front of you? You're not gonna tell us what you're eating? It sounds like it's fucking hitting. I can hear it.
I got chicken alla villa, which is rolled chicken stuffed with moots, ham, topped with moots and ham, topped with
Bravo.
ham, mushrooms, and onions,
Not
and like
bad.
a marsala sauce. I got 2 meatballs and a side salad, low carb.
Come on, bro. What is this, home cooked
Sounds-
meals? Or
sounds
is
like
this
an A
fucking...
meal.
From a
Sounds
place
like an
called
A
Villa
meal.
in Homedale.
Come
It's so
on,
good.
S tier.
Oh my god!
Oh,
All right,
it's so
sounds
good.
good. I heard that.
But anyways,
I heard you chewing that
I
shit from a
think-
mile away.
I think you can make the argument for B. I'm okay with C. I think that's like fair, but I don't know.
Wait, so you're saying they're extremely overrated, and then you're giving them a C?
I said I think C is fair. I personally would like to give them B, but I think C is fair. That's
C
my
plus.
opinion.
I mean,
I honestly don't know much about Gizmo. Obviously,
I don't know
know
much
a lot
about him
about
either.
Trey. So it's like, and I liked what I saw from Afro this year a lot. Kind of wish they would have kept Paul, but it didn't make sense to go into a EU only team.
mhm.
But yeah, so it's just kind of hard for me to rate them just because I don't know much about it. So I'm not gonna give them like an ignorant rating type.
Listen,
ordeal.
we'll keep him at C
But
for
I have
now.
faith in Trey. I have faith in Trey.
I have faith in him too. I just feel like on paper and especially from what I'm hearing, I just feel like these guys are gonna be sleepers, bro. Like people aren't really talking
for
about
sure.
them. People are just not talking about them, and that's why I said like when you really look at some of the teams still left at the bottom that we haven't even talked about yet.
Yep.
I mean, there's talent just spread across this league. So let's go with the Los Angeles Guerrillas next. We're gonna keep London in the C tier for now, but I definitely think highly of that team. I can see them moving up. But Los Angeles Guerrillas, we have Slash in the main, Gunless as a flex. We got Hook and Asim up top. Ben, we'll start with you. I know you like this team, so we'll start with you.
I think I am playing this what is going to be a probably group of like 4 teams in A. I really like their upside with this team, but Just like many teams in the A tier, I have some questions. Will the personalities mesh on this team? That's a big question mark. We've had a couple of them come out on the show and say that they'll be able to put it to the side and this, that, and that, and like we'll see what happens in practice.
You got Yusuf in the chat. You see Asim's little brother spamming A and B. He's you know how he is. But Dan, Tony, we'll go with you guys. What do you guys think about this team?
Honestly, this team for me depends on format. You see a lot of LAN, fucking riding with this team.
Hey, these guys on LAN gonna be. Hey, what you see Austin and Gunless? You're like, listen, these guys are on LAN. They're good to go. But online,
I know online gets under like Austin's skin. I know it gets under Pierce's skin. Obviously they'll still perform, but we've just seen those players just perform exponentially better on LAN.
Not a bad take. Not a bad take at all.
So I think it depends on the format. I'll probably throw them like B plus A. I definitely like the Asim pickup. And I mean they have Kyler, bro. They have fucking Kyler.
Yeah,
I think that, the whole BS that happened this year just got a lot of people sleeping on him. It's kind of that recency bias thing where it's just like, did we forget about Kyler, bro?
Yeah, I mean,
Can't be forgetting about Kyler.
We know how Hook is, man. He's a superstar player. I mean, literally was just in MW was just like a world champion, was a superstar. They come into Cold War. He was frying in the beginning of Cold War when Dallas was top 3. He was frying. He was fucking piecing. And then you have Asim. A lot of people might talk about his inconsistencies in the slang category. That might be like one of his negatives, just trying to find some consistency in the slang department. But one thing you can never take away from Asim is just everybody wants to play with him because he's unselfish. He does what he needs to do. He's just a good teammate. And I think that's really hard to find. It's hard to find a submachine gun player who's just kind of just goes for it and he's going to be that front man for you guys. He has a lot of energy, a lot of aggression. I think he's going to mesh really well with Kyler. I think like the dynamic of them, just how fast and quick Asim is, and Kyler just kind of using him and kind of using each other off the map. I just think it's going to be a good duo. I could see them meshing. It just personality-wise as well. I just feel like they're going to mesh.
I just think Asim's probably going to have to adapt a little. I don't know. I'm trying to think of his old team. So Black Ops 4, he had Grapple, so he was just in first type of guy.
Always. Yep.
MW, Rokkr, they're really obviously known as a slow team to start. And then Cold War, I guess he had Mac, but Kyler's an also go in first guy. So they're gonna, if they can just get that down and not and like the small talk, like Asim's gonna have to kill, you know, when you have Kyler. Because Kyler's not afraid to go in first either. So sometimes you run into this problem of which I kind of ran in with Preston Persini, is you guys both want to go in first sometimes and it kind of messes up the thing. And I don't want it to become where Asim always goes in first and then Kyler has to adapt to like baiting. I just think both of them are gonna have to do it really freaking well. I mean, and you'll see Asim's inconsistency kind of go away if he gets that down.
Right. He just needs to slow it down sometimes. Yeah. I mean, sometimes he's just so go. Granted, it's his role, but there needs to be a balance. And I think
especially when you have Kyler.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it was a problem that I had when I was competing. Sometimes I was just go, and I found inconsistencies. And as you play and as you learn, you know, you just learn more and more about the game. I just think Asim's gonna evolve and grow as time goes on. I think he's gonna mesh well. And then you have Gunless and Slasher looking over these two subs, and you have Slasher who's really gonna come in and want to make a name for himself. You know, this year was a struggle for him. He's gone through a lot of shit, both in and out of the game. We had Austin on the show. Like a week or two ago, Austin came on and talked a lot. He's really wanted to come in and he's super motivated. You have Gunless, who I feel like just meshes so well with Kyler and Asim and Austin. I just feel like inside and outside the game, the personalities all fit. They all wanted to play with each other. I feel like Gunless has grown a lot in terms of like his attitude. A lot of people might have talked about Gunless as an attitude problems and stuff. Listen, he likes to win. He wants to win. He's going to get on your ass. But I think these guys have a good respect for each other. I think they like each other. I think they really want to win. They all have the same goals. You know, they're just all on the same page. I just feel really comfortable with this team. I personally would put them in a B tier, up there with NYSL. I would put them up there.
Yeah, I'm saying B plus A.
Format. Yeah, especially if it's a lot of land stuff. I can see this team being even better because you know Gunless in Austin, they're just night and day difference, bro. There's just certain players that are they're just better on land, and it's as simple as that.
They need to win though. This is the team that's going to argue if they're placing top 3, top 4. Like they have to win.
Tony, every team's arguing. Every team here is arguing.
Listen, I don't care. Austin and Pierce argument was different. I don't like everything is all cool in the offseason.
Let me cut you off, bro, because I was a part of this. Their issue or Pierce's issue with Austin, first of all, was one-sided. I've always said this. It was a one-sided thing. Pierce did not like Austin. Austin never had a problem with Pierce ever. It was a one-sided thing, and that thing was the easiest thing to just talk it out. And it's just Pierce just wants to like. Pierce at the time just thought that Austin thought he plays perfect COD, right? Austin obviously the scrim's over, he's the first to talk. So Pierce just felt like, oh, Austin thinks he's a perfect player. Like Austin knows he makes mistakes. Yeah. It's just such an easy thing to talk about. Hey, just make sure you're just not always criticizing us and you take criticism. Boom.
You're making it sound a lot easier than it actually could be or would be. It really isn't, though, when people's personalities and there's emotion behind it. Like, sure, logically, it's very easy, but like, oh, man. Here's what I'm saying. I said this to Austin, too. When Austin's not winning in the beginning of the game, he's hard to deal with because Austin's obviously very opinionated. So everybody needs to be on board, and I think we talked about it on the show. As long as the entire team doesn't make it about any sole player, sure, they'll be fine. But historically, when Austin's teams struggle in the beginning, he leaves and joins the best team because Austin's obviously going to be able to compete with the best. Is that true or is it not?
I don't
think he do that?
He used to do that. I feel like
World War II, really?
I feel like you can't really do that anymore.
When did he do that? When did he do that in Black Ops 4? When did he do that in Black Ops 3?
I don't think Zin's necessarily wrong here.
And I've discussed this with Austin. Yeah. And I love Austin, but he is not easy to deal with when the team is struggling. And then you add Pierce to that, and it's even harder. But I put him in A. I think if they can get over all their problems, they're one of the best teams in the game. Talent's not the problem.
You want to put LAG in A? You want to switch them?
Oh, sorry, I meant B. If anybody is going to tell me that there's no chance this team implodes, you are lying to yourself. That's all I'll say.
Every team has a chance to implode. It's a CDL now. Motherfuckers get benched quick left and right.
I'm looking at every team on. I can see
like what?
Bro, I can see NYSL implode. I can see fucking Paris and Florida implode. For all you know, Toronto might implode if they're like, say they come in and they're not doing what they were last year. They can implode. Say FaZe is not.
Everybody can implode, but if you're looking at front runners and like the top personalities of who, let's say, if we were to make a tier list of who is most likely to implode
Tony,
based on personalities,
you're always
teams like LAG and
guarantee,
up there.
I guarantee you that every single team, every single year of implode. Well, I guarantee you, your rating, you're thinking Austin team implodes, a Pearson team implodes, my team back when I played. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just always those teams that have a player that you're gonna think it implodes more than it's a more public explode.
Yeah. I don't think both of you are wrong. Every team goes through peaks and valleys. And to Zin's point, the problem that Austin has had the last couple of years is that valley stage is less of a valley and more than Mariana's Trench. And it's like, how do you focus more on rebounding and less just kind of continuing to find rock bottom? And that's what this team has to avoid because, you know what? It's a stacked league. They might not have the best of starts, but if they keep grinding through, this team has a good enough talent, a good enough work ethic and mindset, and I think they're going to have really good proficiency across a bunch of different game modes. Like, they could win events. They just got to grind through the floor problem that some of these players have had the last couple of years.
I mean, you can argue that anybody from S to C could win events. Honestly.
If there's no personal problems, and everybody has the same goal, working through them, top team in the game can beat any team, can compete with any team. It's that simple.
Listen, we'll see what happens. I think they're going to be a good team. How they perform, that's up in there. Nobody fucking knows. I saw somebody in the chat say, how you going to say that this is an evenly balanced league, but then have teams in D? Well, motherfucker, you can't put everybody in fucking A. What are you talking about? What, we're going to throw every fucking person up at the top in S and A? What the fuck are you talking about?
And just because the team's in D does not mean they can't compete. I mean, look at Surge versus FaZe last year. I mean, teams can hit form. Teams can mesh differently. Like, it is the best 12 teams in the league. Or in the world, right? Like, you have the 48, arguably the top 48 Call of Duty players in the world. It's not like the last place team is just going to get 100-point club 6-0 3. You know what I'm saying?
No, they're not.
When people say that, they just mean more through 1 through 9 instead of 1 through 5. Yeah. Like, that's what people mean when it's way more competitive. And like you just said, the teams S through C can win an event.
Yeah,
that's what people mean when it's the most competitive. It's been 1 through 10 is tougher.
Yeah, you don't just look at a league and be like, okay, well, these two teams are just going to dominate the whole fucking year. Like, you actually look at this and you're like, okay, well, there could definitely be some shit happening in here because there's
like
a lot
in
of good
basketball.
people.
Yo, the Nets are good, the Warriors are good. Like, you're still going to have some shit teams, but now there's just more people that are competing for the championship.
Exactly. Exactly. But let's get into the next one, okay? We got Los Angeles Guerrillas in B for now. We're going to go to the Minnesota Rokkr. Which this is interesting, man. They got a top 3 place in that champs. You're going to put him in S, Dan? Mr. Coach himself, Mr. Coach Dan wants to put him in S. But you got a top 3 place in that champs. They obviously won an event, too. They won a major towards the end of the year. They ended off Cold War fucking phenomenal. It was fucking great. Now they add Looney to their... Shout out to Dan. He's joining us on the show today. They added him to the coaching staff, which, Dan, I think you bring a lot to that team. I really do. I think having you there to kind of help Brian and Jake and everybody, man. The whole coaching staff can really use you. I listen, man. They have a good foundation, man. You have Major Maniac, who I think is underrated a little bit. Ben, you mentioned that before the show, how Mike is underrated. You have Prisa, who's going to be running that flex. We know how talented Prisa can be when he hits his ceiling. We know what he can do on the map. And then you have Dylan and Standy up top. Standy's a young gun. It was an MVP. You know what he brings to the table. That guy's good as fuck. Like, Standy is really good. I hope people don't forget how good this kid actually is. And then, of course, you have Attach, who Attach is just doing Dylan things, bro. Clutch master. Fucking, he's a veteran. He's going to be helping these guys out a lot. Where do you put these guys, Ben? Where would you put them? This is tricky, dude. Where the fuck do you put them?
I don't think it's that tricky. I think
you don't think so?
I think they're a solid placement in A. I like what I like what they did.
What's wrong,
last
Tony?
season.
You don't like it, Tony?
No, I mean, I was expecting Ben to say B, because last year they struggled in respawn a lot of times. They're always going to be a top. They're always going to be a top S&D team.
But then they made changes and they won a LAN event. So
I'm not saying. Once again, it goes back to the conversation of, I think a lot of these teams can compete. Just because they can win or they have one doesn't mean that they have to be S or A tier. I would put it more along the lines of like a New York or an LAG. Like, they have the potential to win. They struggle to respawn at times. They're always going to be a good S&D team. If they're a consistent respawn team, sure, put them in A. But last year, they weren't always that.
Here's what I would say. Is the question of teams belonging in A tier, I think, is how they stack up against the OpTic Dallas, because you're a team in that tier. And I actually really like Minnesota's S&D game. And I think I like how they started to improve a respawn at the end of the year. I really, really think is another team that people have stopped talking about. And then I hear your audible coughs in the background every time.
I just had to drink some water.
okay, brother.
Adding in some ad libs.
My thought process on it is they're going to pick up where they went last season. Look, yeah, I mean, are there, teams that are a little bit more consistent? Absolutely. I love Preston, P-Dog. Tom, he was one of the first players that I managed.
I started P-Dog. I started that shit.
But he's not been the most consistent player the last couple of years, and he's going to need to bring that form he had on the back end of that series in Major 5 if they're going to be a dominant team this year. But I like the tools that they have in front of them. I like the coaching staff. I think they've got a little bit more of a higher floor than some of those teams in the B tier, and that's why I'm putting them in A.
Fair.
Dan, Dan, where would you put yourselves? S? We can't ask Dan. He's going to be biased.
They've beaten both those teams.
Bro, I'm going to be honest. I was just going to say that. I feel like you just look at how Minnesota matched up against Toronto and FaZe this year, and
Only team that 3-1 FaZe.
they were fucking running.
Are you putting Surge in S tier because they beat FaZe?
I mean, that was Surge was getting shit on from start to finish, Tony. They
when Minnesota beat FaZe, they won the event.
Minnesota.
I'm not saying you can't. I think B is a little more fair. I mean, bro, I look at that OpTic roster in the A tier, and I see a little more than the Minnesota team. I think B is safe. Hell, if you want to put him in A, I think that's fair. I think B is a little more fair. Dude, I'm not saying they're bad. The problem with these lists is people are like, I think B is fair. They can win an event. I mean, look at LAG New York. I think they're like similar teams. Like, if they're consistent, they can win.
I'm just looking at trajectory, so I'm just throwing them in this.
Okay, here we go.
Oh shit, the net that you
I had to throw one of them. My bad, Ben.
Me personally, with the way they've matched up against Atlanta FaZe and Toronto Ultra, I personally wanted to put them in A tier. I just thought it made sense. I think A tier is a good spot to put them. I know there's an argument to B. You can argue both ways, man. You can argue it both ways. Where should I put him in the final shit? Where should I put him? A, B? I'm thinking about putting him A. I kind of want to put him on A.
If you wouldn't, I mean,
I'm an A, bro.
I just have a question for Zen.
If you two have A, mine's B, and then so you guys win, put him in A. What's up?
With the 3 remaining teams, right? Are you throwing any of them in A?
The only team I was thinking about putting in A is Thieves.
Well,
okay. So with that said, you really think that there's just that big of a gap between OpTic, Dallas, and all those remaining teams you'd put in B?
Nah, see, this just.
I mean, it would be your only A team.
I don't think there's that big of a gap between A and C right now. I mean, if that's
I probably worded that wrong, but I'm just saying you think they're just a level above, obviously. If you would only put OpTic, Dallas at A.
If I look at the team's potential and who I think can win on a more consistent basis, I would have OpTic over your team in A tier. Yes.
I'm just saying the league wide. If you were to do a ranking list right now, you would only have OpTic, Dallas at A.
No,
which just means it would be a level above.
I was probably gonna say Thieves A, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
I was gonna explain why. I mean, I will explain why.
Here's the thing with Minnesota. See, like I'm putting them in A, and it just like I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest, Dan, it just doesn't look right. I feel.
Hey, bro, this is your list.
I don't know. Got top 4 last year at champs, and they won the event before that.
But everything before that, I mean, they struggled.
Yeah, but they finally clicked as a team. Toronto, no offense to Zin and Modern Warfare, but Toronto didn't get together till the end. And if I made a tier list going in the last year, I would have put Toronto high.
Okay, so we'll keep them on A for now. We'll keep it at A for now. Listen.
Listen. Putting them at A is not absurd.
No, it's not. It's close to
A and B are going to be very close, and these teams are going to like we said literally 20 minutes ago. Teams 2 through 7 on this list, those positions are going to change quite a bit this season.
I mean, listen, honestly. They are always going to be a very good search and destroy team. So, I mean, listen, if they have their respawn figured out and they're a little more consistent in that year-round, sure, they're an A-tier team.
They're going to have to really pick up their respawn for sure because their respawn was horrendous, the first half of the year.
But 90% of the season, that is facts.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only reason why, I just feel like, I don't know, the A just didn't seem right. I feel like when you compare them to New York, I feel like they should be around the NYSL, LAG.
Yeah, but New York should be higher, but look how the end of the season, and there's outstanding questions about that.
And let me make a comment, because there are people saying Minnesota had 2 good events, the last 2 events of the year. That is the best time and, the most impactful time to be good. So, if anything, I think you're proving the A listing right, because, being good at the last 2 events of the year is way more impactful and important than being good at the first 2 events.
We're keeping them at A. I'm going to keep them at A. Okay, we're going to keep them at A for now. If we end up changing opinions as the show goes on, we'll switch them up. But let's go into the next team. So we have Atlanta FaZe and Toronto in ES. We got OpTic Dallas and Minnesota Rokkr in A. NYSL and Los Angeles Guerrillas in B. London Royal Ravens in C. Paris and Florida in D. How you doing? Let's go to Seattle Surge. What do you think these guys are going to be? You got Lamar Accuracy as the main AR. You got Mac, Sib, and Pred. I guess Mac and Pred are going to be the 2 submachine gun players. Dante Sib is going to be the flex player. I feel like you slot these guys right into C, dude.
There's a solid C slot.
It's just a solid C. Potentially could be really good and can be up there. And, maybe the Bs and As and maybe squeak out an event. Who knows? I don't know how they're going to perform. But I feel like C, they're definitely not as low as D. They just have a lot of talent. I mean, you have Max, Sib, Pred as a core 3, and then Lamar looking over you as your main AR. I just feel like I wouldn't put them in D. I like the foundation of the team. I like the system that they have. I like Mac on the sub with Pred. I've heard good things about Pred. A lot of good things. I know Dante's fucking insane. I know he's honestly so fucking talented.
Both
he's
ways,
just,
the way you mean that.
Both ways. He's fucking insane in both ways. And that's the problem. Is Dante going to kill this team, or is he going to make this team? What is Dante going to be like? So I have no idea what that's going to happen, but I feel like C is a pretty fair spot to put him. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about this team. Ben, Dan, Tony, whatever you guys want to say. I like the team. I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with some of the other when I compare them to some of these other teams, I just don't know if the talent's going to be able to keep up. And I don't know if they're going to be able to mesh with each other. If we're talking about a team that can implode, Tony.
Yes, they're right up there.
I'm looking at an explosion.
I may put them above LA. Dude, so here's the thing. Lamar is not going to take bullshit. And I truly believe Dante does not respect a single fucking player. And I love Dante, and he's incredibly talented. Lamar's not going to take it, and Sib's not going to give a fuck that he's not taking it. It's going to be a bloodbath.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
If that's figured out, hell, they can be good. I don't know much about Pred. I've also heard good things. If he comes over and starts frying share, I think Mac is really underrated. I think people forget I do think Mac's underrated. I think people forget how good Mac really
Mac
is.
is good as fuck.
Talent-wise, Sib is one of the best players in the league. So please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Like he can compete and kill the best of the best. At the same time, there are two very different versions of Dante, and I've played with him. He's either on and he's vibey and he's calming, or it's the exact opposite. He's quiet, he's pissy, and that stuff is not gonna fly at the pro level.
Damn.
Is that me?
Damn, Dan throwing sprays. That's fucked up, bro. Is there tension in here? I didn't even know there was tension going on in the flank call.
Nah, Zinni was the same way in scrims. I think a lot of players are.
I mean, listen,
but Dante's a little different.
Dante's
a little different. You can't. I was not like Dante.
No, you weren't slapping yourself in the head.
I think for Dante, it's just good that he's teaming with Mac. That's his duo. That's like the inside Kobe. That's like the inside Kleenex. I think Mac Sib. So from what I know, back in World War II and stuff.
And if it's anybody,
that can help out the situation.
If it's anybody who's gonna try and get through to this guy's fucking head, it's Lamar. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Lamar's
being in the league. I think it's just being in the league. It's just like a wake-up call.
Here's the thing: is Dante's gonna have to respect Lamar. He's gonna have to respect like his opinions and what he's saying to him. And if Dante's frying and they're not winning, which could potentially happen, I don't know if Dante's gonna do that. So we'll see what the fuck happens.
The problem is, if Lamar gets disrespected, he's gonna say, "Fuck you! I'll slap your head off your shoulders."
And
then it's gonna get worse. So that's the biggest problem.
I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you, bro.
That's
just gonna get crazy, bro.
Lamar's gonna say, "What? What the fuck did you just say?" That's exactly how Lamar's gonna react. So I mean,
he's
listen.
gonna flip out, dude.
Once again, if there's no personality problems, no clashing, potential to be really good. I hope there is none, dude, because Dante has a serious future to be like one of the best players in the league.
Like a Cammy. I think he has like Cammy potential.
Bro. I've been saying that Dante's I've been saying this, and a lot of people just don't like Dante, so I get cooked for gassing up Dante. But he's talented as fuck. Yeah, if you watch him play, he's fucking insane.
That's the last thing anyone has ever been worried about. At least in as pros.
Right, and it gets to a point now where it's like, okay, he's young, he's coming into the scene, he's a fucking dickhead. It is what it is. We were all there. Some of us have been there. Where we were just dicks when we were younger. I think a lot of it's just gonna come down to him and how he, evolves and performs, and it's all gonna come down to Dante.
Yeah.
And we'll see how he does, and I just hope that his attitude's in check. And then we'll go from there. We'll see what happens.
He's young too, man. What is he? 18, 19?
18, 19. He's young. He's just turned 18, 19. I don't know. He's down there.
I mean, he's super young, man. He's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot of experience left to gather. Hopefully they're good. And
I think that team will benefit from a facility if possible. But obviously with Surge, I'm not sure if that's possible. But just scrimming every single day from the same environment. Yeah. In the same spot, not from your bedrooms. I think that would help Sib a lot.
We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with these guys.
Not you, Austin. I was talking about Seattle.
Regardless.
Oh, this is Lamar.
Oh shit.
We do have facility. This is Lamar.
This guy Lamar's on Austin's
I think they'll benefit a shit ton from that.
Listen,
because Lamar can really just turn around and smack him upside the head.
Jesus Christ. Listen, I'm excited to watch these guys play though. Dude, there's so many. I want to see London, right? Because they're like a new team. A lot of question marks, but people are saying they're really good. I want to see Seattle because people don't know how they're gonna mesh. I want to see this Los Angeles Guerrillas team. I want to see NYSL with the Hydra Neptune shit. Crim and Clay are back. You have OpTic Dallas, who's fucking bringing 4 superstar players to this team. Minnesota Rokkr, who kicked up at the end of the year. This year's exciting as fuck. This is nuts. Let's go to the next one. Los Angeles Thieves. I like this team, bro. I like this team.
I'm going A.
I was gonna go A too. I like LA Thieves. I think you have Octane and Kenny, who are back in action, ready to go. Those guys love each other. They fucking flirt with each other all the time on the timeline and shit. They're flirting and shit.
Or they FaceTime each other before matches when they're on opposite teams.
Word, they love each other, bro. They tickle each other's balls and shit. We got to put them up in a good chemistry there. And then you got Envoy, who, in my opinion, is a superstar sub. OpTic, obviously. Envoy is one of those players that's pretty much irreplaceable unless it's like a player like Shotzi. So I think Envoy is just like a grab for like a lot of these teams. Everybody wanted Envoy. Bro, I was fucking being the GM for New York when I was there. I was fucking hitting up Envoy. The first thing he said to me, he's like, dude, are you the GM? I said, listen, bro, I'm trying. You're a good player. I'm a big fan. You should come to New York. But we'll see what happens. And then you got Draza, who's going to be, who's running the second sub?
So that's what I was going to say.
Kenny or Draza?
I don't know.
No,
but
I think it's Draza.
Kenny's in the chat.
Yeah, who's running the second sub? Can you run a sub again, boss?
Listen,
I'd like to see that.
He's going to be nasty with whatever he runs. But
the only thing I wish is that... Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. They don't know yet.
I hope Draza gets to run the same role for an extended period of time, because I feel like this past year he was like flipped in so many different directions that the kid was just forced to constantly change roles, change positions. Like, I would like to see them figure something out and then stick with it and not change it as soon as something starts looking wrong. I mean, listen, I trust the coaching staff and the players to figure it out. I think it's pretty hard to argue against this team being an A potential team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only player that people really put a question mark around is Draws, and I would compare Draws to a player like Ender. A little bit underrated, a lot of passion, always in eights, willing to put in the time. He's very easy to get along with, and I don't know. I have high hopes for them. Sam specifically, like, this is Sam's first year now since the CDL started.
Sam's got to kick up now.
So I mean, to put it,
the first roster he's looking forward to.
Yeah, he's got to kick up now.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out a nice way to say it. This is probably the first roster that Sam looks at and respects and is like, okay, these guys are as good as me. Yeah, and I'm not saying Sam has a crazy ego, but like, knowing Sam, he knows how good he is. People know how good he is. This is probably the first roster where he's like, finally, holy fuck, I'm not hard carrying.
You got a lot of flexibility with this team. I mean, Kenny put in the chat. Sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But Kenny put in the chat. We don't know yet. We don't know what the fuck we're doing, and that's not a bad problem to have. Listen, you got Kenny, you got Draws. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. They can run ARs. They can run subs. You have Envoy, who's going to be that playmaker up top, running your sub. You have one of the best ARs to ever do it as your main AR role. I think the chemistry is going to be good with these guys. I feel like they all get along. Which is important. The reason why I keep saying that about some of these teams is because I think shit like that's important. So I definitely put them up in the A tier. But Ben, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
I mean, so I have two thoughts. I really like the talent in this team, but just like with OpTic Dallas, this team is going to decide by themselves with their work ethic and how hard they want to get ahead in front of everybody at the beginning of the season, how hard they want to grind through the valleys, decide if they're just going to be a team that's sort of constantly top four but doesn't crack Championship Sunday, or if they're going to win the event this year. They've got the flexibility, they've got the talent. I'm not worried about that piece. It's the other stuff. Mm-hmm. The weird thing with this tier ranking is, like, do we think that Thieves is better than LEG, or do we think they're very much on the same level?
I think there's no personality clash factor at all. When it comes to, I mean, it's a good question, actually. When it comes to talent, like, I guess I would rank them very similarly, actually. I mean, now that I think about it, they are very similar.
You're doing side-by-side comparison to OpTic Dallas?
Yep. Slasher,
No.
Los Angeles Guerrillas.
Yeah, both LA
oh,
teams.
okay.
So you got Octane going up against Slasher. You have whoever the flex is going to be, Kenny or Draza going up against Gunless. And then you have Hook and Asim going up against a Kenny and an Envoy. Again. Or a fucking or Draza and an Envoy, whatever it's gonna be.
I think it'll make it easier. I think I assume say they go into their first round. S&D might make this a thing too, but like I would the first thing I would try, I know they say they're gonna try both, is I would try Kenny on an AR, Draza on a sub. Because wasn't Draza like a really good sub in MW? And he ran that for most of MW, I believe. He was like the smoke player.
I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you.
I could be. I think when he joined OpTic LA, I could be wrong. Did they switch Siege to sub? Anyways, that's what I would try first. Just because Kenny's been really good, obviously, the last 2 years. But that's probably the first, like, say they load into their first rim, that's what they'll try. I think they match up, like, really good. I think for me, it's just, like Zin said, it's just getting Draws in a comfortable role. He's just come into two broken teams trying to fix them.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ben,
I think if he can be a good entry sub, because I always think that Envoy needs an entry sub to play at his best. No one's saying that he's not good and he wasn't good the last 2 years, but I think for Envoy to be at his best and just have the flexibility to play the game how he wants to and make game-winning plays, I think someone should be his entry.
I kind of think the opposite. Like, I kind of rather start with Kenny as the SMG and then Draws as the flex. Like, because like I think about sub duos and it's like, if Envoy is going to be doing the dirty work, I want Kenny literally just getting kills with an SMG and Draws will do his thing as a flex.
I want Kenny just run at people, dude.
Well, Yeah, I mean, like looking at the play style, maybe I'm overthinking or tripping, and
I can
feel
see
free
your
to
point.
disagree.
I can see your point.
I just feel like looking at like an SMG Slayer, someone who's gonna get kills while Envoy's doing the dirty work and taking the routes. I think I'd rather Kenny doing that, and then have Draj just post it up as a flex.
Well, Kenny's gonna be running whatever feels more comfortable. Whatever the best gun in the game is what Kenny's running, which is not a bad thing. Just put the fucking because he's talented as fuck.
I remember in Black Ops 4 when that happened. Lamar was on our team and he goes, "If we pick up Kenny, and he's just running whatever fuck gun he wants." Like, I mean, you just run the, as Drazo would say, the best shit, and I just run anything after.
Which,
the thing is for me, 2 flexes is scary. Yeah, it can look really good, but I think you can quickly run into problems as well.
Yeah.
We'll keep him an 8 for now. I feel like you have Envoy who was on OpTic. He's going over to LA Thieves now. I feel like matching up, they do have a lot of talent across the board. You could say the same thing for the teams in the B tier, though. That's the only reason why it's tricky. I just think with the teams in the B tier, there's just some question marks. Where the teams in the A tier, there's question marks with everybody, but I don't know.
Can we just do this? Are we unopposed to just moving Minnesota and Thieves down to B tier?
I'm not opposed to anything. I'm down to move shit around.
I mean, the stream would love that, trust.
Wait, what do you want to do? You want to
take Minnesota and Thieves and move them to B and leave OpTic in its own tier.
I mean, I'm down for that. It's not a bad because when you look at when you keep it like this, it just doesn't look right. Like that's
what I'm saying. It makes it seem like OpTic off rip or just on another level.
But like
talent-wise they are. Talent-wise they are. They got Scump, who's one of the best subs all time. Shotzi, who's doing 360 no scopes in fucking Warzone. You got fucking Illy, who, in my opinion, Illy's gotten a lot of slack. He's going to be like the make or break of his team. The fans are going to fucking cook him if they're losing. Illy's going to be the one they all go to. And then you have Dashu, who's kind of like, I feel like he finally gets that main AR, just fucking get kills, you know? Just do what he's got to do. It's a good system.
It is.
Looney mad because he got turned on by Shotzi.
Yeah. Well, online, that dude killed me before he freaking landed.
He literally
killed me before he landed. I'm an OpTic hater.
Listen, I don't know, bro. It looks more it looks more appropriate to have it like this. I'm not gonna lie. It just looks better to me. But I don't
know. I think if you compare OpTic pound for Thieves, it's a lot more similar than if you compare OpTic to Rokkr. What? It's pound to pound.
I like that. No, I like that. I used to use that a lot. Pound for pound on the best.
Listen, there's a lot of people in the chat saying LATA, but you could put this guy. You could put any of those teams in B could be an A.
Let me compare them a little bit, okay? So, like, just going from player, role to role, Dashy and Sam, like, the talent discrepancy is not night and day. Like, 2 very, very similarly talented players. Both can snipe, both dominant players. Can't even be debated.
Okay.
And then I compared Inder and Draz, and I think I like that comparison. Both, like, pretty underrated. Both grinders, both positive guys, both very vocal. Like, I feel like that's a pretty fair comparison.
To Inder there. I think Draz is a better Slayer, but I think Inder brings a little bit more.
I'm not saying they're exact, but it's very, very close. And then Shotzi and Kenny, when it comes to talent, Shotzi has insane movement, right? Better movement than Kenny, but no one is going to tell me that Shotzi is infinitely more talented than Kenny. I won't even take it serious.
Kenny has better YY, so I'd take that over movement.
Yeah, I mean, like, very, very similar.
Wait, you don't think Shotzi's more talented? You think you can't argue it? I think Shotzi's more talented than Kenny.
No, I said way more. I mean, sure, by a little bit, but you're going to tell me that Shotzi is way more talented than Kenny?
But I think Kenny also brings other things to the table in terms of just his knowledge of the game and just how to play the game. I think it's a hard comparison, bro.
Isn't that what Shotzi does as well?
I don't understand. When did I ever say Kenny is better than Shotzi?
No, it's just the way you said it. It was just
very similar.
No, it's just the way you said it, bro. You're good. It was just the way you said it.
Talent-wise, Shotzi and Kenny are not night and day. You can compare both players and be like, damn, these guys are both very talented players. It's not like Shotzi's going to put down Kenny every single time.
Holy shit, this guy said Shotzi's better than Kenny and Envoy combined.
And then you got the King.
Lord.
You got the King versus the Prince. I mean, that's a discussion.
The King versus the Prince. That's interesting, man. Envoy was supposed to be the next one up, dude.
I know. I think Seth was better last year, but once again, no one is going to tell me that Envoy is not close to Seth. They're close, right? Whoever you give the edge to, I would give it to Seth a little bit, just like I would give it to Shotzi a little bit, and I would probably give it to Inder a little bit. It's still very comparable.
I think the tiebreaker for me is probably just how the teams are going to be set up with tactics. I just have more faith right now in sort of Ray, and I assume Troy Sanders may be involved with this team if they're merging. Well, I guess we'll see. I just have more faith that OpTic, they also come in prepared with better game plans than LA Thieves. It's not to say they cap.
So you're saying Rambo over cap.
I just think that's the intangible.
Damn, bro.
I just like the way the OpTic also comes set up.
Yeah, Rambo over cap. That's crazy.
We can't sit here and say that Dallas hasn't come in this series prepared. I think where they got in trouble this year, candidly, was slaying. They got outslayed in an insane amount of series last year. And if they had probably gotten a few more extra kills on some of those maps, the season would have ended up a little bit different. So I think that to me is a tiebreaker in how I rank those two teams. I also, by the way, want to state that I'm pretty sure in the LAG versus LA Thieves like series record, isn't it like pretty lopsided in favor of LAG?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we could just do this.
It's crazy to read how many of you have turned on Envoy already. I mean, wow, poor Envoy. From the Prince, who was getting nothing but gas, to no way. It's just crazy. It's just crazy what the clan tag in your name will do.
I worry about Illy because I love Illy. I think he's such a good player, but sometimes he's not the flashiest, or not the flashiest, but sometimes he's not dropping the numbers that people expect somebody like Illy to drop. But I just think of what he does on the map and like just how impactful he is. I just hope it's not overlooked. That's all I'm saying. I just hope it's not overlooked. We could do a list like this. You put all these guys in A tier, all these fucking guys that we don't know where to put.
I hate
go back, Tom. Go back to what it was.
That is a cop out. It is a cop out.
People can't be that offended that we're putting OpTic in its own tier. No, I think the team.
Who's offended?
I am too. I am.
Oh, I mean, I just think that
I'm an
team
OpTic
deserves
hater,
the respect.
Tom.
I mean, bro, you know how, bro, we have almost 6,000 people in here, and I'm sure everybody has a different opinion on this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Put OpTic and S, and then put FaZe and Ultra under them.
You're tripping, bro.
Please,
You're tripping.
These guys are cutthroat, dude.
Hey, get the screenshot. Get the screenshot while you guys can, man. Get it up there.
I mean, these guys are cutthroat, dude.
There
you go, guys. Are you happy now?
You happy
Fuck
now?
me.
Get the fucking screenshot now.
Fuck me.
It doesn't help that my main fucking editor, my main guy Vowels, bro, does all my videos. The biggest OpTic fan ever, bro. Loves OpTic, dude.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the thumbnail, Tom.
Oh, of course, he's definitely throwing Scump on the thumbnail. It's like he loves him. He just loves OpTic, bro. But well, listen, I think the list.
Scump on the thumbnail is a good way to get views, though. To be fair.
Well, it's the king right there, man. People see the king, they click. Listen, we got DC, bro. We got DC. I don't know what's going on with DC, man. They're too quiet behind the scenes. I'm not sure what the fuck the roster is going to be. Obviously, there's been some rumors from Chrome. We
could kind of take it on face value of that rumored roster of what Jadian is a member of.
So what was it? Tony, it was Paul X, TJ, and Vivid. I mean, I feel like they just fit in the C category. I wouldn't put them. I wouldn't put
drop in C. Mm-hmm. If the team clicks, I kind of like a lot of their matchups with that team. But you know, just need
D. I mean, I don't know why people are saying D. You got Paul. You got Paul X, who's a very, very good flex player. Are people forgetting how good Paul is? Good. Like that guy is good. You have Tony, who is a main AR player that wasn't even playing bad for Toronto. I thought Tony was doing his fucking thing. And then you have Vivid, who people were mind blown that Vivid's not on a team, and now they want to throw this guy in the D tier. You got Vivid and TJ up top. I think TJ's a little bit of a question mark for people. Some inconsistencies here or there. We know what TJ can do. Is he going to be able to hit his ceiling, hit his form? Who knows? It's a rumored roster. DC's been really quiet to me behind the scenes. Not really too sure what's going on with them. If this is even happening, I'm going to be honest, guys. Not sure if it actually is. We'll see. But as of right now, I think throwing them in C is okay. I think that's a pretty good spot to put them. Around there. C, D, around there. Like a C minus maybe. But
everyone's saying I'm quiet. Well, what do you want me to do? Comment on a rumored roster, including me?
Well, Tony can't say anything here.
Yeah.
But Dan, Ben, would you guys agree? Would you guys just put them right there, or would you guys put them in D?
No, they're in C. I think they're better on paper than Florida or Paris. I don't think they're as good as the teams in B. And so I think C is a perfect spot to put them along with Seattle and London.
All right, well, there you have it. You had the flank tier list Pre-Vanguard, we haven't seen any of these teams playing Vanguard. I think after a month or two into the game, after watching scrims, we should come back to this. We should change it up a little bit. And then we'll continue to do these as the year goes on, man. We'll do a mid-year list, and then we'll do an end-of-the-year list when everything's done. And we'll compare the rest of them. You know, we'll compare the rest of them as time goes on. But that's going to be our tier list for today. On a scale of 1 to 10, guys, 10 being good, 1 being shit, where would you put our tier list, man? You gonna put us in? You gonna give us a 10 or a 1?
I think it's a good list. I don't think you can really make arguments with honestly any of the placings.
No, you can argue some things.
I mean, you can argue some teams into A.
Some
Other
team,
than
yeah,
that,
right.
I don't think it's very far off. I mean, I think everything's pretty fair.
Yeah, I like it. I like where it's at. We also got some stuff on Reddit that we got a little post on Reddit today. I posted a few hours ago. We can refresh it just because I don't know if there's more people on here, but we got 112 comments, man. You guys came in hot today. We're gonna go through this real quick. We'll pick like some of the top comments, Ben. We'll skim through it and we'll see what some of the people are saying. But somebody said, who are players you feel like are in a make it or break it year in terms of their narrative and credibility as low tier, mid tier, high tier superstar players? Players you feel that have to perform this year in order to retain the lore as players in their, is that what is that word, lore? What is that, Ben?
Like legacy, kind of like
legacy as players in their respective categories listed above. My hot pick is Octane and the superstar / high tier due to the situation he just came out of. Can he finally win consistently in the CDL era while being the old Octane he was?
Well, Sam's in chat, so he'll let us know what he feels about that.
Oh shit. I think there's a lot of I agree with the Octane thing. I think it might be a make it break it year for him. I think he finally has a team where he can come out and show himself. And if they struggle and it doesn't look good, I mean, it's just not a good look. But I think Octane's up there. Who else, man? I think some of the Florida guys are gonna make it or break it.
There are a lot of players. I mean, you could
Paris
probably
guys.
Outside of probably Toronto and Atlanta FaZe, you could probably name
hey, bro, if you're not playing well, you're getting cut, bro. The CDO don't give a fuck, bro. So there's a lot of people, man.
I think you could probably name 1 or 2 people per team because there are, outside of Toronto and FaZe, I would say there are probably 1 or 2 players that definitely, are kind of in a crossroads in their career. Either they need to continue the consistency they had last year, or they need to step their performances up.
We'll see. I think Octane, people are saying temp in the chat. We'll see what goes on with Donnie. You have John, Havoc. I mean, all kinds of people, bro. I mean, on every team, you have so many players who potentially could be gone. Bro, look at what happens year after year. But we're losing players left and right. People are dipping out sooner than we think, man. And it's out of some people's controls. What are you gonna do? But that's a good question, man. Not that bad of a question. But it's gonna be a make it break a year for a lot of players, man. What player has potential to be rookie of the year, and what player can be most improved? So who are our rookies? We have Sib, Pred. Who else? Sib, Pred.
The London boys.
Nasty. Afro's not really a rookie. Gizmo will be a rookie. So Gizmo, Pred. Dave Patty will continue. He'll be a rookie. Dave Patty's coming in. We'll consider him a rookie. Who else? Are we missing anybody else, chat? Are we missing anybody else? I think that's all the rookies. Unless I'm missing somebody. Counting Yeez, we can throw Yeez in there just for shits and gigs. We'll throw in that bitch.
The 2 rookies that were named Rookie of the Year
Pred,
didn't even come in until
Pred. Did we say Pred?
Too.
We didn't say Pred.
Yeah, we did.
We said Pred? Okay.
Yeah.
So who do you guys think?
You said 7 Pred.
Who do you guys think, man? I'm going to be honest here.
It's Sib.
Sib? You think it's going to be Sib?
Sib or Nasty?
I think Dante.
I was gonna say Nasty.
Dante, we've talked about this before in the show. Like, there are players you watch them play. Like, if you didn't see their name right in the corner and you saw their POV, you're like, that's someone that's got like special talent. Just have that like something about their POV, and like Dante has it, man. I just think the intangibles.
No, he does.
And I've seen some Nasty film, and that guy is disgusting.
The thing is if they're not meshing well as a team, Dante's not going to be able to do that. So, if Sib's going to be Rookie of the Year, you're banking on Seattle popping off and doing good shit. Because, in order to succeed, it relies a lot on your team. It's not just about individuality. It's about your teamwork and, how you mesh together. That's why there's, kind of some question marks there. I personally am going with Nasty. I'm going Nasty. I feel like that guy's going to come out and just fry and just do what he does. I know a lot of people think highly of him. I've seen him play multiple times. I think he's super talented. And I think that London roster is a sleeper. So I can see Nasty coming out and winning Rookie of the Year. I see some people saying, who's Nasty? Well, you're about to find out. The league is starting soon. I heard Crim say a big reason why he wanted a team with Neptune is because he could put in the team shots and that he would almost single-handedly win Florida games because of his damage. In a faster ton of kill game like Vanguard, is this going to be less important? No, team shots and shit like that is even in fast time to kill games, it's good to team shot. I mean, you can always kill faster.
Help the guy faster.
You can always kill faster, you know? And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. That was an interesting take from Crim6, though. Because they noticed that Neptune has a lot of damage. Like, he hits shots. Like, I don't know.
It comes from Halo.
Yeah, it must be like a Halo fucking thing.
You gotta have team shots in Halo. You ain't taking like 1Vs that much.
You're getting smoked if you don't.
Yeah.
Hot take, London will be a top 8 team. Afro was a standout player on a struggling Royal Raven squad last year with other up-and-coming talent. Nasty and Gizmo and veteran leadership in Zero. They should be well improved. Furthermore, they seem to have good chem and have been playing together since the rumors. Well, top 8. I mean,
that's not a hot take.
That's not a hot take.
Put them in top 8.
Yeah, that's not a hot take at all.
Yeah, that's not a hot take.
It's definitely not a hot take. But yeah, I agree with everything else you said, bro. Just don't agree with it being a hot take. For Washington, D.C., rumored team Vivid, Methods, Pollux, and TJ hot take. I know this friendship and chemistry is there between Methods and TJ, but I would love to see Pristini instead. Agree, disagree. Would you like to see Pristini instead of TJ?
I think we talked about this on a show, didn't we?
I think we did. Did we? I don't fucking remember. We talked about a lot of things.
We had the conversation here. I can entertain it. You know, I think though, I actually low-key kind of like.
I like TJ
and Reese Vivid next to each other because Reese. If TJ kind of plays his normal play style, it's going to bring the best out of Reese. And if he kind of embraces that role, like I really like this team and the fit with those two subs.
I feel like it'll mesh. I mean, we'll see if it ends up happening. Again, rumors. DC's
someone
been
in chat made a really
very
good point,
quiet.
Tom. Maybe it isn't so much like when you take Pristini, because I like Preston, but Nano's someone that's getting disrespected in like all these roster.
I mean, I've been mentioning Nano. I keep mentioning this fucking guy on so many different shows. But he's never talked about. Nobody. What? I don't understand. People just don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Bro.
History. They just fucking.
Too much baggage, dude.
I guess so. It's just the baggage. I don't know. On top of that, I mean, you know, we didn't get any expansion teams. I think that hurt a lot of people's cases. But I feel like a lot of people are in challenges again. They're like sitting there like, dude, fuck it, bro. Let's run it back in challenges and hope again for expansion going into the next year. I mean, I know expansion was talked about going into this next season, but it ended up falling through. So, you know, challenges is going to be something to watch out for too, especially because if some of these teams in the league are not performing, where are they going to look? Motherfucker, challenges. That's where they're going to look.
I mean, just to touch on challengers, like, I really hope the system is entirely revamped this upcoming year. Like, I would like to see some land play. Like, I really feel like challengers aren't given the proper support and spotlight. And I get it's difficult, right? It's not like you can just put them on the main CDL team because they didn't pay $25 million to enter. But I think LAN would be super important. I'm not sure if there's a system where you could like have some of these guys match up against like the pro teams, but I just feel bad for a lot of these guys. And I mean, we've said it so much. It just comes down to limited spots. I mean, we were so used to a 16-team league, and now here we are going into year 3 with 12 teams. And I mean, I've been an advocate of it. I would do anything for there to be 16 teams in the league because I think it's needed. I mean, like, there are so many challengers who just haven't gotten a shot and probably won't get a shot this year just because of the limited amount of spots.
Yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbles. You know, what are you going to do? But Ben, you got a question specifically asked for you. I want Ben's take on this, but what do you think OpTic need to do different than what they've been doing the past few years to get back into their winning ways again? Seriously, though, what do they need to do differently? And how can these 2 new additions in Shotzi and Illy help the top 2 of Scump and Dashy, who last time went together back in December of 2018? Obviously, on paper, they look nasty, but I'm talking about as a team. Would really love to hear Ben's take on this one. Cheers, boys. This is pretty much why we had him in the A tier and not the S. Yeah. Just because, you know, there's some question marks. But, Ben, go ahead. Go ahead, answer this.
I think I like this move. And what they need to do, and I have talked about this time and time and time again on this show, is like with those OpTic teams, it's never been about talent. It's the fact that to win in COD now, You need to do the other stuff. And we have had either ex-teammates come on this show or people have said stuff on their stream. That there were certain things that they just weren't doing to get that extra push that teams like FaZe were doing, teams like Toronto were doing, teams like Minnesota were doing. I think, though, with the addition of Shotzi and Illy, who are two players that, yes, they are going to be and want to be vibey teammates, but they're also going to want to win and do the extra stuff. On top of that, like, Rambo sets a pretty strict culture over there. And it's not just Rambo, their upper management has, and we've seen it with how they handled the Kyler situation. Like, they are not going to take sort of people coasting as acceptable behavior. So I think with all of that, the environment is better for guys like Scump or Dashy to go ahead and grab a W here. I like this team. There's not going to be a better situation unless somehow Toronto and FaZe made changes for those two players to end up a better team.
I mean, the team is fucking dope. For sure. I'm excited to watch them play. I'm excited for all these teams. We're going to end it there, man. I think just scrolling through, those are like the main three. Some people are asking shit that we already kind of talked about. But I think for the most part, we had a good show, man. We've been talking for a while now. We got our tier list up there. So for those of you who do want to see the tier list one more time, this is what we ended up coming with at the end. I want to thank Tony. I want to thank Dan for coming on. Shout out to Looney. Shout out to Methods for coming on. Ben, I don't want you to think that you're off the hook for this one, buddy, because you got to get the fuck up and hit a putt for us real quick.
Hit a putt?
And I'm going to be honest, if this is the last time, if you hit this, bro, you're getting a bigger putting mat. I'm going to get you one. I'm going to find one. Okay, let's switch it on over. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get your predictions in the chat. What do you think Ben J and his team's going to do over here? You think he's going to sink this, or do you think he's going to fuck it up? Get your predictions going. Be careful with those channel points, because you guys have been losing and losing. What's the problem, Ben?
He's really fucking up here.
I don't know. I'm a.
You crop it weird. So that's why
I didn't crop it weird, bro. I'm cropping it to the edge of Discord.
Okay.
Where are your lights, bro? Can you turn some lights on in there?
Yeah, I know.
The counter needs.
Let's look at what he's got here on this counter.
What do you got on the counter, Ben? You got
a bunch of cleaning supplies.
Ben, I'm begging for you to put a pack of Magnum condoms on that counter for next time, just for the shits and gigs.
Do you like the Titleist hat in the background?
What?
We need you to shoot that from further back too. You've been up close and personal with
the
what
I'm saying, bro.
Last time.
No, you didn't. You didn't go all the way back. You didn't go all the way back, bro.
I'm getting the putt.
We can't even see the front of the fucking mat. Move your camera down. Why is it so hard for you to move your camera down? Just move it down. Yeah, down. Perfect. Beautiful. Fantastic.
There we go.
That's the scene right there. That's what I'm talking about. This guy doesn't own a pair of socks ever. He never has socks on.
Hey, you wear socks on when you're wearing like slides like that?
I always wear socks, bro. I love socks.
Keeps them longer, not they get the stank feet, but
NJ He's bringing it all.
Like
okay, Dan. He brought it back this time. Dan, he brought it back. Okay, he brought it back.
Yeah.
He's sitting deep right now. He's gonna line it up on a green. He's gonna focus up. Benjamin Scene's gonna strike. He's gonna sink the putt from deep. He's gonna sink it. That's fantastic plays coming out of Benjamin Scene. Let's get away to that chat. Show him some love, hey.
I'm not gonna lie.
This
is starting to become horseshit. The
guy
plays golf 4 times a week.
Yeah, no,
and he's shooting.
Hey, bro,
a little two-fuck put in his apartment.
Ben, next time you're hitting a fucking driver out your window. You're opening up the window. You're hitting a driver.
You know what? You know what you have to do? You have to throw something under the mat to add some like elevation on the way there.
Like some curves and shit. Listen, Dan, I'm gonna go on Amazon. I'm gonna find the craziest golf mat ever. I'm gonna order it. I'm gonna fucking send it to Ben, and we'll see what happens.
Like that.
But real quick, chat, I got an announcement to make. But not today, on Thursday. Stay tuned.
Announcement for an announcement.
There's going to be an announcement on Thursday around noon Pacific. Make sure to stay tuned. I will be live. Ben, would you like to run an emergency flank that day? And you can ask me some questions, because you know what's going on Thursday.
Seats.
Yeah, I mean, we should do a nice show on Thursday, and then you and I will vibe, because you know what's coming up this weekend. We got the Call of Duty game release.
Hell yeah.
Playing some games.
And then tomorrow I'm going to be at some that Vanguard event that's going on. We're walking a red carpet. I'm going to have Queen Mitch there with me. Not sure what I'm doing there. I keep asking Spence. One day I'm playing, one day I'm casting.
You walking the red carpet at this event? What's the deal?
That's what they said. We got to wear fucking suits and shit. I didn't have any of that.
No, they wear suits. I don't think Ace and MC own any suits.
No, MC. You told me that MC got an outfit. Didn't you tell me that?
Yeah. MC was
Not
freaking
a
out
suit,
this
not a
weekend.
suit, but they want you to dress up. You know,
Yeah,
wear a
yeah, just
sports
like-
jacket or some shit.
Yeah,
you know,
just like nice and
His
nice.
blazer.
I don't know. I had no idea.
Got some nice outfits. I'm sure Chris will obviously pull up. He'll be looking good. Austin,
Yeah, I don't know. But stand tuned for that. Probably won't be streaming tomorrow because I have
Yeah.
that event all day. We start rehearsals at noon. We're going to be there till like 10 p.m. So no stream tomorrow. And then Thursday, we're going to be live with the announcement. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And I'm going to continue to stream now and play some games. But I want to show some love to Dan again and Zin for joining up. And
Is the show still live right now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even end it. Okay.
Are you off the papaya?
No, I'm just making sure because I just want to say I'm 150 followers away from 200K on Twitter. So
oh,
head
there you
on
go.
over.
Hey, go show some love. At Methods, man. Go at Looney at Methods. Go show some love,
Ben,
man.
what are you about to say? You about to comment on
No,
my
it's about to gas you up. Let's get.
Oh, okay. I'm just making
No,
sure.
you didn't say
Don't do it
anything.
again.
But most
I don't
importantly,
know.
chat, most importantly, make sure to go follow The Flank on Twitter at The Flank. It's got 34,000 followers now. We're on our way to 50K on there, bro. So make sure to go show them some love. We're trying to pass up Paris Legion. So let's fucking keep this shit going.
Blank has more followers than
We're trying to
players.
pass up Paris Legion.
Yeah, we're trying to pass up Paris Legion. That's the goal.
And how much time? And how much time?
Dude,
How long have you? When did you make
half
the
the
Blank
time.
Twitter?
Joined May 2021.
Wow.
So yeah,
That is
half the
good.
time, half the fucking time. But make sure to go follow that.
W. Gersh.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, go to anchor.fm/The Flank to go check out all the audio sites we're on. Again, follow The Flank on Twitter. And as always, guys, we'll see you in another episode of The Flank. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a good fucking day. Take care.
Have a good day.